I would like to begin by asking Mr. Idris, you've seen firsthand, heard narratives firsthand of what the reality in Xinjiang is. The new report that comes out goes on to talk about history repeating itself in two other provinces where also we see the maximum number of Muslim residents.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. In those times, the hypocrisy is the mainstream. As you know, we are talking about the CCP's Chinese Communist Party's destruction of thousands of mosques. But I want to give a highlight on the human cost. You know, when the Chinese Communist regime, Communist Party, launched the war on Islam, 2018, murdered Imam Muhammad Saleh, who is translated the Quran to Uyghur language with the permission of China. The Communist Party imprisoned him, tortured him, murdered him in concentration camp. 82 years old are religious scholars. Many thousands imams and scholars are disappeared, landed in this concentration camps, murdered and tortured. We are talking over 1 million children they are raising in atheistic system, not in Uyghur language, but in pan-Chinese communistic ideology. And over 3 million people in concentration camps. You know what their crime is? Practicing normal activities of Islam, saying Salam Alaikum, going to mosque, praying, and that was their crime. And the millions and millions landed in Chinese prisons. So this is the human cost. Today, we are seeing the destruction and demolishing the mosques in Ningxia, Gansu, Kunming around China. But we have to put highlights how many people, because of China's war and Sinicization of Islam, suffering. We can see almost, you know, the 6-7 years, we can count the mosques what China demolished. At least over 16,000 mosques demolished in East Turkestan. And the 5,000 mosques demolished or disappeared around China. While China is demolishing mosques, destroying the mosques, putting scholars and murdering them, and at the same time to be helpful to rescue other Muslims. As a Uyghur Muslim, I don't believe it, I don't buy it.
And it's interesting that the world is buying it as well, or at least the Arab nations clearly are, because their hypocrisy or their complicity in all of this is also something that we will be speaking of. But I want to get in Dr. Leung on this as well. The facts that Mr. Idris stated, the amount of mosques that have been raised, there are reports after reports that come out. Is this a systematic effort as part of the CCP's strategy of Sinicization of all religions? Is this what they're doing?
First of all, the comparison of China policy on Xinjiang with what's happening over Gaza is completely over the top, because no comparison at all. Because in the case of Xinjiang, it's a question of rising separatism. And then the data quoted in the report dated back a number of years ago, when separatism were rearing its ugly head, and so there were hence this tremendous crackdown. But now the situation is highly stabilized, and there are many tourists flocking to Xinjiang, in both for Chinese nationals from various provinces and even foreigners. Now the fact remains that this, over the past so many years, the livelihood of the Xinjiang people have miraculously improved according to United Nations metrics, both in life expectancy and economy. And as far as mosques are concerned, in spite of the removal or destruction of some mosques because they were hotbeds of terrorism, special targets, but the fact remains there are 25,000 mosques in Xinjiang. on a per capita basis is one mosque for about 57 people. It's the highest compared with any Islamic countries. And of course, if you look at the renminbi, the banknote, the Xinjiang language features there all these years since the founding of the People's Republic of China. So the Xinjiang language, the Xinjiang culture is highly preserved because it's the policy of the Chinese Communist Party that is a coexistence between different ethnic groups. China is a unique country with 58 different ethnic groups. And most of these, with the exception of the Xinjiang and perhaps Tibet, also live in great harmony. So if you look at the statistics, there are two sides of the story, but the comparisons, what's happening over Gaza is really ridiculous, over the tops.
But sir, I want to ask you, you're talking about there being enough number of mosques as far as at least the Xinjiang province is concerned. But let's talk about the other two provinces that this report has been speaking of. There's also a 2018 reference to what was referred as the Xinjiang papers. It was the first known reference, perhaps a leaked paper that spoke of mosque consolidation as far as that particular province and the rest of China is concerned, where they spoke of how it was the CCP's strategy to ensure that more mosques were not built, that the overall number of mosques had to be compressed. Would you deny that there was no such internal document that eventually was leaked out?
Sorry, are you asking me?
Yes, Dr. Leung.
Okay, well, naturally the situation in Xinjiang is not confined to itself because there are separatists and in fact extremist terrorist groups spreading to other provinces where the Muslims were residing or living in Jiangsu and so on and so forth. Again, the report quoted data a number of years back, but the situation is hugely improved to the extent that a number of the restrictions, a number of the so-called camps or education camps have been closed and welcoming tourists. Previously, I mean, all these provinces, because of the rising separatism, were close to tourists even for Chinese nationals. But now, even I wanted to go to Xinjiang, and I found it very difficult to even book a tour because there are so many tourists going to Xinjiang just to see the situation on the ground.
I have to respond to this allegation. I have to respond.
Sure, sir, go ahead.
Your guest even repeating the Chinese Communist Party's narrative, but he is not aware of Chinese Communist policies. Sinicization of Islam, changing zikr in the masjid, demolition cemeteries, and the banning and the Islamic activities. As a Uyghurs, we cannot have a beard like mine, you know. We cannot have a very hijab. We cannot educate our children with our religions or our language. And I think he is not aware of the Chinese Communist policy. Recent Xi Jinping's visit in August to Urumqi, what he said, make a compatible Islamic religion with Confucius and the communism. They already changed the Quran and the Bible. I think he is not aware of the Chinese Communist policy. You should learn your Communist Party's policy and then make it repeat your lies, I think.
Dr. Leung and Mr. Idris, do stay on with us. Tara Karta also joining us here on this broadcast.
All I could say is that please visit Xinjiang yourself. Rather than believing all the rhetoric and in reports quoting out-of-date data, and the situation on the ground is very, very different now. And of course, there was a period of rising separatism, as in the case of other countries having to face separatism, even in India.
Authorities, but then isolation, laws. You read it. You have to read your own communistic ideology and then make a narrative. You know, you are propaganda for the Communist Party, but you are repeating the lies. You cannot make 100%. You know, the Chinese Communist Party is saying sinicization of Islam. What's mean that? Can you explain me that sinicization of Islam? What to do with the separatism, terrorism? Nothing to do. You cannot put millions of people in concentration camps, torturing them, rape them, murdering them, and forcing them in working as a slave in the force camp. You cannot do it.